the stakeholders, because a project, software project, have many stakeholders. So that means stakeholder may change their mind, may change their idea. Even the market will change during the development. So you will face a problem. This problem actually means the requirement change. Requirement change. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Requirement management is a process of managing changes. Remember, the last part is managing changes. Like your software have the evaluation, or your software maybe have the update. All of this will involve the changes. So here, managing change is the requirement during the requirement engineering process, and even in the system development. The requirements are inevitably incomplete and inconsistent. Incomplete and inconsistent. Incomplete means you cannot identify all the requirements. But who can tell me what is inconsistent? What is inconsistent? Last class I gave you example from the bank security and the bank customer. What inconsistent mean?
Rapidly means step by step.
Not keep change. Keep change means incomplete. This one inconsistent not only by change. Think. Different stakeholder what? Rest. Stakeholder. Consistent. Inconsistent case by the different stakeholders. Like the customer of a bank and the security management of a bank. Different stakeholders. Who can give me an example? What this inconsistent mean? Try. Don't be shy. I give you some tips. Like customer of a bank, they require the system is very convenient to use. But bank security management require that system had more strict what?
Security?
Yes, more strict security regulation. That make the system not that easy to use. Understand? So the same requirement, but different description. Okay? The same function they want, like withdraw money or transfer money. Okay, the same function, but the different stakeholders, they have different requirement. This will case what? Inconsistent. Okay. The new requirement emerging during the process as business change, and everyone should know this. Better understanding. Why you will have the better understanding? When you involved into the development, during the development, you will get knowledge day by day. Then, after maybe 1 month, 2 months, you will have better understanding. Then the first start, right? So maybe you found, okay, this requirement is not right at the first place. So we need to change it based on the better understanding. So this will case the change. And the different viewpoint means the different stakeholders have different requirements. And these are often contradictory, often inconsistent. This means sometimes even conflict, sometimes even conflict. So requirements change, the priority of requirement from different viewpoints change during the development process. The system customer may specify requirements from a system perspective that conflict with end user requirements. So not only cased by the customer, sometimes the development team and the end user maybe have different requirements even within the same function. The business and the technical environment of the system changes during its development. So let's have a look, talk about the requirement update, or say requirement evolution. So here, we first start from here, initial understanding of the problem. Then you will write it down. You will have the specification of the requirement. But during the market, during the maintenance, during the development, you will find, okay, change, requirement change. Then you will understanding again, understanding of the problem again. Then you will write it down, change the requirement. Okay, horizontal line is timeline, timeline during the time, during the time. So as I said, this is a kind of spiral. This is a kind of spiral. There are two requirements. You should understand this. This will very useful to help you to understand which requirement may be changed in the future and which requirement may not ever change in the future. So this called enduring requirement and volatile requirement. The enduring requirement, that means stable, okay? Means stable. Stable requirement derived from the core activity of the customer organization. So what is stable? Some example is shown here. Like a hospital will always have a doctor, will always have a doctor, nurse, and drugs, and the department. Okay, these actually are stable because every hospital needs this requirement. So this is stable. But what is volatile? I think you know volatile. In the previous class, I introduced volatile before this term. This term has an opposite term. It's called involatile. When I introduce you RAM, RAM is a volatile storage, but ROM is a involatile storage. Here, the same meaning here. The volatile requirement means which change during development or when the system is in use. Example is like this. In a hospital, requirement derived from healthy care policy because in the market, the policy may be changed year by year. So you need to change your system to fit the new policy. This is volatile, and many volatile requirements. Okay, let's see the change management. Change management is like this. When it change, so first you will identify the problem, like the policy change, like the market change, like the new stakeholder require you to do something. So you identify the problem, then you will do the problem analysis. Analysis means the discovery to find the new requirement, find the change, the new requirement, and you need to write it down into a new specification. This means a requirement specification. And you will analysis what things. Again, this is cost, means the feasibility. Can you change this requirement? You will analysis it. Because sometimes the new requirement, the new change will require very high cost. You cannot afford it. So here, the change analysis also needed to consider the cost. When you find, okay, we can handle this change, then you will really to do the change implementation, implementation. Then you will get the revised, updated, or involved requirement document. This is the change line. Change line, you follow this line. But in our project, I didn't give you the change. So don't worry, I didn't give you change. The all function I already list in the project instruction. Okay, at last of the first part, we have a review the key points from this chapter. The first point is the requirement engineering process include a feasibility. So feasibility means you should analyze the cost you can afford, the current technology you can use to fulfill the requirement, and the development team can have the ability to doing so. So this is the feasibility. Then the second process, or second activity is requirement analysis. Also means requirement discovery. When you discovered all the requirements not complete, then you will go into the third one. Third one is to write it down into requirement specification, also the requirement documentation. And the last, you will manage the change. Manage the change. This is the first point. And the second point is the systems have multiple stakeholder. The multiple stakeholder may have different requirements. Even with the same function, they may have different requirements. You should understand this. So by deal with stakeholder, the method is to do interview, like interview students, interview the manager, or interview the other stakeholders. And the third point is you should never forget that the business change inevitably lead to changing the requirement. So don't surprise when your project requirement has been changed. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And the requirement management include the planning and change management. Okay, this is the end of this chapter. We take a break and everyone prepare your microphone. Next class, I will order one by one to explain what they have done for the version 1, and I will help you to show the screen, to show your document. You explain, I show it. Okay, I show it, you explain. Clear, everyone?
Closer.
Yes.
Okay, we take a break.